Happy full moon in Aquarius. I'm sure you're feeling the power of this weekend. It is a very, very powerful weekend. It is a very active, energetically active weekend. I don't know how you guys are doing with the sleep thing. Yesterday, during the 8/8 portal, it was a very, I don't know, like it felt like a little bit of a heavy energy. I was feeling very tired. You may have been feeling tired under this 8/8 portal, even maybe the days leading up to the 8/8 portal, plus because it's combined with this full moon. You know, full moons are always this completion of a cycle, and so it brings up actually a lot of heaviness within the self, within the psyche, within the emotions. It can bring up a lot of heaviness within the body itself. So I want to just talk a little bit about a message that was coming through about today's full moon and in general, like this entire weekend that we have, because it's so influenced and because with the 8/8 portal, and because there's so many different planetary alignments and the sun being very active right now. There's just so much going on energetically. Some of the messages that were coming through about this weekend and what all of these energies are really bringing us to are this culmination point. It's bringing us to this head when it comes to our own soul growth, when it comes to your own soul development. And you may be feeling like you're not entirely feeling balanced within yourself at this time, or some of you might be feeling really balanced within yourselves if you have been doing a lot of internal work, if you have been really looking at shadow aspects, doing shadow work, doing all these different things. But let's talk a little bit about self-deception, and let's talk a little bit about your conscience, okay? Conscience. Because what I feel like this full moon is actually bringing to the surface for so many people, including myself, is this energy of what is bothering your conscience. What are the things that are coming up for you? The different ways in which you have betrayed yourself, the different ways in which you have perhaps betrayed another. And like this releasing of that, it's like, can you unburden your soul? Can you unburden your mind? Can you unburden your heart through this release point? Because today's full moon is all about the completion of this. And yes, it's in the sign of Aquarius, which is very much about innovation and technology and like creation and invention, you know, all of these things. This is like if we don't look at the technology aspect of this influence and we look at more of the spiritual or the soul aspect and the influence that it has on the soul, then I would say that this Aquarius full moon is so much about recalibrating your own soul. It is so much about reinventing yourself. It is about coming up and inventing an identity within yourself that you can live with on a daily basis. And that means that you have to be willing to look at all of the different ways in which you are not settled within your conscience. So like I said, what are the ways in which you betray yourself? Because that itself is where the soul screams. Like I'm getting this visual of how the soul really moves into like crisis mode when you continuously betray yourself. So it's like, never mind betraying other people. How are you betraying yourself on a daily basis? What kind of promises do you make yourself? Or what kind of things do you say to yourself? Like, oh, I'm going to do this, or from starting tomorrow, I'm going to start juicing, or starting tomorrow, I'm going to start that workout routine, or starting tomorrow, or starting whenever, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And then you don't follow through, and then you don't do it. Because those are the ways in which we create soul crisis for ourselves. Every single one of those little betrayals, every single one of those times that you don't follow through on something that you promised yourself you're going to do, those little, I see them as like little energy rocks, and it's like chipping away at the soul. It's like, you know, when like a stone pings off your car, like on the highway or when you're driving or off the windshield or something, and it creates these little tiny hairline fractures. That's exactly what it does. That self-betrayal, the every single time that you are not honoring whatever it is that your intuition is guiding you towards, every time that you're not listening to that intuition, not trusting it, not following through on the insight or the messages that you're feeling nudged to, that's chipping away at your soul, and it's creating these little fractures, these little hairline cracks within the soul itself. So it's like, when I think about it, is it any wonder that society operates the way that it does? Is it any wonder that we're always seeking, like, not only external validation, because that's actually okay, that's kind of a normal thing, right? We are living in a society and in a community, but it's more that external distraction, right? Where we're always seeking for external pleasure or fun or distractions that are going to help us forget or help us ignore, all of the ways in which we are abandoning ourselves or betraying ourselves. And so what I'm beginning to recognize as I've moved through so much of my own internal healing, and I've shed so much of my own internal stuff, what I'm recognizing is that there is no room to blame, like, anyone. I can't blame anyone outside of me. I can't blame my past. I cannot blame my parents or society or really anything whatsoever when it comes to how my soul has developed, because at the end of the day, everything is a choice, right? And every single choice that we make on a continuous basis, on a daily basis, on a moment-to-moment basis, is constantly influencing your soul's growth or hindering it, or it's like you're either expanding or contracting. And we're doing both simultaneously, like, all the time, right? We're always expanding and contracting a little bit. There's like an ebb and flow to our soul's development. There's an ebb and flow and a rhythm to the waters, to the tides, to everything, to the tides in the body, to our emotions. Everything ebbs and flows constantly, but the ebb and flow becomes softer. It becomes more gentle and a little bit slower. And there's more like flow when we are less in that self-betrayal, when we honor ourselves more and on a deeper level on a daily basis. And I want to kind of, because I'm hearing micro habits. So I want to kind of redirect now. So if you just look at that under this full moon and look at all the ways in which you betray yourself, all the ways in which you deceive yourself and you don't listen to yourself, right? All of that heaviness sits on your conscience, right? Because it's kind of there. It's always at the back of the mind. You don't forget what you promised yourself. You don't forget the things that you said you were going to follow through on and then didn't. We push it aside, but we don't forget. But what we can do is we can use micro habits to basically stop this, right? Because all this is just poor choice habits, right? And you can use micro habits to start clearing out, start eliminating. I'm seeing it like stuff being pushed off a plate. Like, you can start to clear out this type of energy from your subconscious mind, from the conscious mind, from your vessel, from your body, this energy, through doing daily little things where you're like, okay, I'm going to say, and you know what, to start, I was going to say 3, but to start, you can even just do 1. Choose one thing that when you get up in the morning that you say that you're going to do, and follow through and do it, because that follow through is going to, that's a part of these micro habits. That's a part of the way that you're going to start to shed this self-betrayal, the way that you're going to stop repeating this cycle, repeating this pattern, because I do see it as a pattern. It just continuously loops over and over and over. And eventually you get to this stage where you're just like, you promise yourself things, but then you betray yourself you're betraying yourself constantly, and you just kind of get used to that. It's like you become numb to your own betrayal. And you are always going to look outside of yourself to numb that, to comfort that, to push it away, to not look at it, to not take responsibility for it, right? To not admit. And that's normal. Like, we all do this. We all do this. So this isn't a call out. This is a reminder of this full moon asking you, showing you, telling you that you have an option to make better choices Are you going to take that option? Because with the 8A portal, there's this opportunity to manifest so much more for yourself, to call in so much more into your experience. But to call it into your experience, you have to be able to get the hell out of your own way. You have to stop betraying yourself. You have to stop making promises to yourself and not keeping them. You have to stop, and of course, not just yourself, do that with other people as well. Like, you have to look at the ways in which you are always sabotaging, because that is a form of sabotage, and it's a huge one. And like I said, this is like chipping away at your soul. So it's like this full moon is asking you to kind of tune into that, check in with yourself. How am I constantly chipping away at my own soul? What choices am I making that is constantly betraying my intuition? What stories am I telling myself that become spiritual bypassing instead of acceptance and taking responsibility? According to Caroline Myss, the most powerful force in the universe is actually not love. She says that it is choice, because you have to choose to be loving. You have to choose to love. You have to choose to love yourself. You have to choose to love other people. You have to choose to be a loving person, right? And so under this full moon, the energy, and in all of August, actually, because we're in so much heart energy, there's so much heart expansion at the moment. What I really want to direct you towards is your own heart. The ways in which you deny your own heart, the ways in which you ignore the calling of your own heart, and paying attention to that, and start listening to that, and start integrating the messages, start actually acting on those messages. And I feel like as a collective, if we stop the bypassing, if we stop betraying ourselves, if we stop constantly giving our power away through our choices, then we are going to bring so much harmony back into our own souls. And I'm seeing like the soul fragmentation all coming together. It's like all these broken pieces of glass coming together and like mending and gluing together, like sticking together, even smoothing out, like becoming one whole sort of unit again. So the soul healing that you are actually seeking, which isn't something outside of you or from something outside of you, the soul healing that you are seeking, that reinvention that this Aquarius full moon is talking about, that recalibration, is going to come from your ability to make choices that are going to be soul-serving. I wanted to say self-serving, but then I heard soul-serving. So as we move forward into the second half of August, and as we move forward with the second half of this year, this is where I would strongly recommend that your focus goes, is to start really looking at the ways in which you betray yourself and simply start working on it through micro habits, through little small promises that you make yourself, but actually keep and actually follow through. Clear the shoulds out of the way, because I'm seeing a lot of, well, I should do this and I should do that. Clear the clutter out of your mind with meditation and start getting very clear and very focused on the things that you can do that feel good for you now in the moment. It's like, well, I can do a little bit more of this, or I can actually maybe get up 5-10 minutes earlier so that I actually do that juice in the morning that I always promised myself that I would do. You know what I mean? It's like there's just little adjustments here that are required for us to be able to really tap into our heart and our soul's calling, our intuition. I feel like those three are like one. and listen, actively listen, and actively take action on the guidance that we are hearing and that we are receiving. So this August truly is a very powerful manifestation portal. And I don't even want to call it a portal. Can we just call it energy, because we're manifesting every single day? There's a very powerful energy here that is amplifying our ability to call things into our lives. But in order to call those things into our lives, I feel like this is something that has to, it's like we need this conscious awareness of how we are betraying ourselves, of how we are not following through on certain things that we promise ourselves or promise other people. And when we can clear this energy, then we're really going to be able to call in even more. And it's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I'm hearing like the clearing the energy doesn't mean that you have to get this like 100% right. But it's that even that little bit of awareness in this very moment as you're listening to me, as you're realizing that, man, yeah, I do that. That awareness is already shifting you in the right direction. So that's the message that I feel coming through for this full moon. That is the message that I felt guided to share, to hop on and bring to you. And I hope that you found it helpful. And I hope that you are hearing what I'm saying here, hearing it with your heart and hearing it with your soul. And I hope that you make the choice to make better choices for yourself. This is the completion of a cycle. This is the ending of a cycle. And this is the ending of a lot of BS, if you so choose. So if you really want the second half of this year to go really well for you, and if you really want to experience some breakthroughs and some big shifts, this is the energy for that. Just look at how you might be stalling or delaying or pushing back or resisting that breakthrough. What micro habits can I pick up that are going to help me actually accomplish this breakthrough? And last but not least, I just want to shout out and wish my little brother a very, very happy birthday. His birthday was yesterday during the 8-8 portal. And I just want to tell you that I'm so proud of you and I love you so, so much. And I can't believe that you have such a magical birthday, like the 8-8 portal. I didn't even realize, growing up, how significant this 8-8 portal birthday is. But now that I know, now that I understand, it's pretty freaking magical. So it's pretty cool to have someone in the family that has an 8-8 birthday. I love you. I will see you on Sunday for our little party. And thank you to all the viewers. Thank you to you for sticking around, for being here. I love you as well. And I'm sending you all my appreciation and gratitude for being here, for watching, for listening. And I hope that you take the time during this very powerful weekend to sit with yourself, to think a little bit about some of the stuff we talked about in this video, and just look at little ways in which you can be more loving, more kind to yourself, to your soul, and more supportive through more positive choices. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video very soon.